Hey y'all, so this is my second attempt at this video, and I just realized why. It's because I didn't open up the first one in prayer. So, Father God, angels, ancestors of the highest realm, the highest white light, the highest forms of love, we pray that you open up our path, our eyes, all of our eyes, Father God, as wide as possible, so that we can learn something from this message. I pray that everybody that comes across this message takes something away from it that's beneficial to them in their life, Father God. I pray that you keep bad energy, bad spirits away from us um, from now until eternity, Father God. Bless. So, this is a very important message to me because my backstory real quick, I told you guys how I was like a hardcore Christian, and then my eyes were open. So a lot of this stuff I let slide because I was like, there's no way that this person is doing da 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 because this person is X to me. This person does X, Y, and Z. So there's no way that this person is casting on me. Even when I got those spiritual nudges or alerts trying to let me know, I didn't believe it because I was like, there's no such thing in Christianity. I'm like, there's no such way that anybody could have power over me, manipulate my energy. There's no way because I'm a child of God and I'm protected by the blood of Jesus and yada yada yada. And so first, I just want to say, if you're there in your journey where you have questions, I suggest you continue to pray and give it time. But hopefully, my goal here today is to verify and confirm a few suspicions of yours, or unverified. So yeah, let me. Oh, y'all might want to close your ears for this one. Click off whatever. Fast forward whatever. I'm gonna ring these bells to open up the channel from my ancestors to me, the communication from the angels to me, to allow them to enter the space and hold the space. So. Okay, so speaking of religion, that's the sign number one. Most people who practice the dark arts have some sort of background or experience or knowledge in religion. They will be attracted to some form of organized religion. Doesn't matter what that religion is. It could be Mormonism. It could be Christianity. It could be Islam person, subscriber, believer. But that will always be telltale sign number one. And a lot of times, especially if this individual is like a parent or individuals, because it could be more than one, they'll do that to make it so when you start to notice the signs, when you start to be like, something is off with this person and their energy, you will automatically question and doubt yourself, because Christianity teaches us that nobody can just manipulate our energy. Nobody can, first of all, energy can't be manipulated. There's, magic is bad. And I don't understand how Christians will say that, and they know from previous times in the Bible that they read and subscribe to, there's talks of witchcraft and alchemy and all that type of stuff. It's just a different name or a different form, but it's all the same thing. I feel like religion is in itself is a curse, because it turns a lot of our blinders off and turns our intuition off, or at least weakens it, because we depend on outside sources for our spiritual beliefs, healing, practice, whatever. Um, when we're religious, um, and that's one of the main reasons why I don't like religion, because these books will literally talk about these subjects and then condemn them. But wasn't Jesus a miracle worker, a manifester? That's all a miracle is a manifestation. Even if a miracle happens that you weren't expecting or you didn't think you would get, it came into your reality because that's subconsciously what you wished for, what you were hoping for, right? So organized religion always, 100% of the time. Another way you can tell that this person is into some form of divination or dark arts is if they discourage you from doing that same thing. And it's hypocritical in nature. Like, I remember I told this story before when I first started, when I first picked up a deck. And me and my sister were living together. And I was telling her, and then she was like, oh no, just don't bring that in here, because, I'm not comfortable with that, X, Y, and Z. But then later on, when we would have conversations that wasn't related to this, she talked to me about how she went to go actually see a practitioner. And then when I was like, wait a second, you went to go see a practitioner, and I was trying to get more information, she didn't want to go into detail. So it's wrong for me to pick up tarot cards, but it's not wrong for you to go to practitioners to perform rituals and all. So that's how they'll discourage you from doing any type of divination, but they will indulge in it as well. And that goes into my next sign, hypocritical. This is somebody, and that can fall into religion as well. This is all falling under the same umbrella of religion, because these people will have inconsistency in their lives. Like, I know in the case of my family member, they were a Bible thumper. Everything was about God, this, Jesus, that, da 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 da. But when they would be in church, the person that they presented themselves in church as, and the person that I saw behind the scenes were two completely different people. So that's important to keep in mind. I mean, some people do have changing personalities. For me, I'm a Gemini sun, so I will not necessarily change my mind a lot, but I will deviate from what I've been known to do, and I'll be known, but my personality is still consistent, even though there are variations within that personality. There are nuances within that personality, but you will never catch me being a completely different person over here, and then over here I'm a completely different person, and those two people contradict each other. You will never see that with me. So this could look like a Christian who's like so against gay marriage, right? But then you discover that they drink alcohol occasionally, or they have some type of habit, or some type of codependency, and it's like, that doesn't make sense. It's inconsistent. You're gonna tell me Okay, sorry. My computer about to die. I had to put it on the charger. So you gonna tell me that I shouldn't be doing X, Y, and Z when you need to stay focused on yourself? That's what I'm saying. I'm always weary, and I'm gonna say this until I'm blue in the face, of people, or you should always be weary of people who literally try to force their beliefs, because I am spiritual. So I'm not gonna have a debate about God, because that's just something that I know, right? Um, that's just something that I know and I believe in my heart without a shadow of a doubt is real. I've seen it. Um, I forgot where I was going with that, but and I'll do that a lot. um, so yeah, people who try to discourage you from opening up your third eye or from seeing things, that's usually because they don't want you to get a reading and then what the fuck they're doing to come up in the reading, right? Um, so organized religion, hypocrite, um, and that's and another thing. Like you talking about, you don't believe in gay marriage or gays or whatever their lifestyle, because it's in the Bible, right? But so is gluttony, and you're 600 pounds. So when you start seeing people doing, oh, this sin is worse than this sin and blah, 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 they're fake, they're phony, they're fraud, and you should get far the hell away from that person. That's just my suggestion. You do what you want to do. Another way that you can tell is they try to project an image onto you and try to force a narrative onto you that is just so inconsistent with who you are. I remember ever since I was little, there was this like thing that everybody knew and would cling to in the family. It's like I didn't like kids and kids didn't like me. I was mean. I was selfish. And these are all things that were said to me or about me from other individuals, right? So then I took on, because I was so young, I took on that. Even when I was a kid, they were saying like, you don't like kids, or y'all know she don't like kids. And I'm like, first of all, where the fuck do you get off making a character analysis on me? And for you to tell me and others what I do and what I don't like. And then I noticed that it was one day, I was an adult at this time. I didn't have kids. But my brother invited me to a party. It was like a little house gathering or something like that. And I decided to attend. I didn't know it was just like a kids party. I didn't have kids, so what? But we went anyway, and I was so tore up. And those kids, me and those kids had a fucking ball. Okay, I bribed them to do a dance competition. I was like, whoever win, y'all could have $20, and that was my last $20. And the little kid won. And I wasn't expecting for them to come collect, but that little motherfucker was like, the $20. So I had to get it my last. But it was so worth it, and it was so fun. And I realized in that moment, I'm like, I love kids, and kids love the fuck out of me. And I started thinking back, and I'm like, to the relationship with my nephew, and I'm like, no, kids actually don't like this person. The people who were saying it. In fact, my daughter, when I went on to have a daughter, one of the people that used to say it all the time, my daughter did not like her. My daughter did not like her. And then I started sitting back and noticing kids did not like this individual. They would avoid this individual. So that's one thing you got to look out for. They try to, through word, because most likely if this person practices, they understand how important words are, how important energy is. So sometimes they will try to speak stuff over you. I talk about how one of my biggest fears was being obese, and that's because I grew up in a family full of obese people. And I was I was like this. I was very skinny for a very long time. Very skinny. But I would have this, fear. And that's because an obese person in my family, a morbidly obese person in my family, would project being overweight onto me. They would speak it over me. And sometimes it would literally be in my face. They would say, oh, um, you eating whatever you want. You better enjoy it now because you're going to look just like this when you get... Fuck no. I look at myself now and I'm the same age frame of when this person was... Same age range when this person was speaking that over me. And I'm like, I look fucking great. I'm actually middle age. I look great for my age. I look great for my age. And I will literally never be fat. It's impossible for me to be obese. But I used to say, like, when people would ask what's my biggest fear, it would be obesity. I would say I'm afraid of obesity. And then one day I realized I don't have anything to worry about. My brain is conditioned to stay in shape. My brain, I can look in the mirror and just tell how much I weigh. I don't even need to get on a scale. Because I can feel the weight. I can feel, just like I was telling people, I never had to set an alarm clock. I can feel what time it is. I've always been that way. It doesn't matter what time I have to wake up, how late I stayed up the next night. I never have to set an alarm clock because I have an internal alarm system that is very accurate. And the same thing with my weight. So watch out for people who are projecting things onto you, and then you realize, like, you just sit back and think, like, is this really true, or is this person trying to force it to be true? Yeah, so that's another one. Another big thing is when you notice that they're in competition with you. My mom never... I remember having to walk everywhere when we were little. She never had a car. She did get her license. She had a car, and I remember she bought it like with her income tax money. And I remember one of her little boyfriends drove out of town in her shit. And because she didn't have her license, like, why the fuck don't you have your license? She didn't have her license until she was like late 20s. And even then, once her boyfriend drove out of town with her car, she never got another one till years down the line. And then she got another one, and then that one broke down. And then by this time, I'm grown, and I always just say, like, I'm gonna have a car. I'm gonna do all this, and like, my dreams used to be basic as fuck because it well exceeded my reality, what I had witnessed others in my reality have. And the motherfuckers didn't even have a car until I came along. And I was like, nah, I'm not. I'm going to get my driver's license. I'm going to get my permit. I'm going to go get a car. And I did it. And I had to do it by myself, but I did it. And then all of a sudden, my mom, who walked everywhere for the longest time, decided, oh, let me go get a car at fucking, middle, late stage in life. And there's nothing wrong with doing something late stage in your life, but it very much gave, I can't have her having this and I don't have it. And so when people start comparing, that's always a red flag. That's always a red flag for me. I mean, I know people like to say, well, steel sharpens steel. Y'all can, when people used to defend this person, they're like, well, y'all can learn something from each other, and that'll just make you be better. And I'm like, no, that ideology is all incorrect because you should never be in competition with nobody but yourself. I don't ever want to outdo or outpace anybody but myself. But I notice a lot of times when I would tell people, these dark witches in my family, that I wanted to do something, they would go out of their way to do it before me, so that it looks like I was following in their footsteps when in reality they were following in mine, doing spell work to hold me back, doing stirring on me to hold me back from doing the very thing that I literally told them that I was going to do. And then they rush to go do it. And it always fails whenever I notice somebody do that. Like, I remember saying, I want to have a house before I'm 30. I want to have my own house built before I'm 30. And my sister, who's always been a hater and jealous of me, she made it her point. You know, she was more stable. She was still in the military. She had been in for a long time. She made it a point to go hurry up and meet that goal and that dream before I did. Because she was never talking about buying a house before then. She was never talking about doing that before then. And she did. She bought a house before me, and guess what? It was a fucking dump. I moved states to go help her because I knew she was single, and, you know, I was like, well, you know, I can go down there, and I told this story somewhere on my page, on one of my videos before. But yeah, by the time I left, that house was falling the fucking apart, and she ended up having to sell it. And then I learned a valuable lesson, like, don't worry about who's first. Because she didn't do her research on that house. It took one Google search, and I was like, hey, you know somebody died in your foyer? And she was like, well, I'm like, yeah, I just Googled the address, and there was a guy who literally was pow in the foyer of the home when he opened the door, and it's in a newspaper. And you didn't research the house before you got it? You didn't at least do a Google search? No, because that person wasn't worried about what type of quality the house was. The only thing that they were worrying about was outdoing me, outpacing me. And now that person after that, they went on to experience homelessness. So that's why you got to be careful. You know? Don't alter what you're doing, but maybe move a little different. If you notice that somebody is constantly competing with you or always trying to put your ideas down, and then they turn around and they're practicing literally what you preached, don't tell that person anything. And I know in my case it don't matter because they're going to watch regardless. Even if I deleted all my social media except for my YouTube account. And I got subscribers, and I don't do anything on here for people to subscribe to, most people. So I know a good portion of those subscribers are just here to watch, to spiritually monitor me, to clock my moves. So yeah, another thing is this person is usually good at some type of craft. You know, Satan was like what, master musician or something like that. Not saying everybody with gifts or passion has some type of demonic ulterior motive or hidden agenda, but a lot of times those people will be exceptionally good at something, and they will incorporate their witchcraft into that thing. Like my mom is an excellent cook. She wasn't thinking about going to school until I did it when I was younger. She went to school. She got her culinary degree. She's not working as a chef. She literally, her goal was to get her degree, be the first one to hold a degree in our family because she heard me say it. But anyway, if you suspect somebody, I on this thing now, I said this previously, where I don't want to eat anything unless I know the source, like 100%, unless I prepare the food myself. Because I realize so many people do work than you actually realize. And they also do work trying to detract or trying to dismiss the allegations. Because deep down, they know they're true. But they don't want others to know they're true. So anyway, also, if you notice people clocking your moves, like I remember one time I was nervous about something. And my sister, the one I was talking about, the hater, she was like, you don't need to be worried about it. You need to relax. You always get whatever you want anyway. And I'm like, what the fuck made you say that? That I always get what I want. I'm not tracking that. I'm tracking I always work hard to get what I want. And if I want something, eventually I'm going to get it. But you trying to make it seem like, oh, you don't got nothing to worry about because you always get what you want. The way it came off is just like, first of all, you're clocking that I always get what I want. You counting my blessings. Automatic side eye from this point forward, because I'm not clocking your blessings. I don't know what the fuck you got going on in your life. I don't know if you always blessed or not. I don't think about that. But you think about that? Okay. Mental note. What else? Oh yeah. I noticed whenever my mom would do something, like I remember this was years after she was supposed to have gotten clean. She left and stayed out all night. She stayed out for like 2 nights. We didn't hear from her. She came back in the house. It was just me and my sister. She came back in the house. She didn't say nothing to us. She didn't say, and I mean, we were teenagers at this point, but still, who the fuck leaves teenagers in the house without letting them know where they are or where they're going? For 2 days. And then she just came back in the house and started cooking. She didn't say, I'm sorry, or this is where I've been, or I was gone because. She didn't say anything to us. She just started cooking. So, always be mindful of that. Also, always be mindful of people that just keep secrets. Like, and it don't even have to be a big secret. It could be a small ass secret. Like, I remember, like, my mom would just be like, all right, I'll be back. And I'm looking like, where are you going? None of your business. I'm grown. Okay. But then she would turn around and ask me where I was going. And I would give her that same energy. I'm grown. Who the fuck you asking about where you going? I'm grown. I don't have to tell you that anymore. You know, I would always tell where I was going because, you know, when you have trauma in your life and you realize at a young age that any moment anything could happen and you could be taken up out of here and taken away from your family. So I will always volunteer that information. That's not anything I wanted to keep close to the chest where I'm at in case anything ever happens. But you can ask me where I'm going, but I can't ask you. So always look for that. And a lot of times they be doing shit like sneaking up the spell work. I remember I was living with this lady, this African lady I told y'all about in a previous video. We were both nurses. I was a contract nurse and I was just there on a contract, and she, you know, lived there. And I told this story before. She would just leave and go missing for a couple hours. What do you mean? And I think she was going to go do a little daily ritual or whatever, because so many bad things happened to me. And that's another way you spot a witch. When they have unexplained absences at weird hours, and they also, every time they come in your energy, something bad happens, or a series of negative events happen, or you'll just start feeling bad. Like when I lived there, I just was always tired. I was so drained. I was so tired. Because she was stealing my energy. And she's no longer with us. But that's how you know, like, and like I said in another video, there's scientific evidence. There's a book called The Body Keeps the Score that I recommend y'all read. I didn't read it. My physical therapist recommended it to me. I went and checked the book out, but I just didn't have time to read it. So I'll probably go back and check it out today. But she basically told me how it's about how, like, your body stores trauma. You know, medically, this is not junk science. This is what we know. Your body stores trauma just like it stores fat. Just like it stores food. Just like it stores, you know, it records. Your body is a computer. I tell people this all the time. Your body is a computer. And it holds storage and it holds memory. And so you have to do things to actively release that energy. Like I'm about to go to the gym. Yeah, but if you go around people and you start to feel sick, I told this story before. Every time I would get ready to go over my mom's house, I would physically get ill towards the end of our relationship. I was like physically feel sick when my bum ass brother wanted to come leech off me again. Old as hell, wanted to come live with me, and his enabler, my bum ass mom, was trying to convince me to let him come live with me, even though he already did that and he messed up, and I ended up having to kick him out. I would tell him, like, I think mommy is a witch and blah blah blah, and he would defend her, but so I found that strange. But anyway, when it was time for, and she asked me, and I felt bad. I always felt responsible for people, and I got out of that sense. But I would feel responsible and feel like it was somehow my burden to carry, that my brothers were bums and that they didn't take care of their kids and they beat women. And I didn't want people talking bad about my brothers. I still love them. So I would take on a lot of their energy. And it would physically make me sick to the point where I had to call them like, nah, you can't come. You can't come here. I didn't tell them like, yo, you literally make me sick. But Spirit was like, no, we're not going through that cycle again. You've been there, done that. It doesn't work. He has to be a man. He has to learn how to man up. He didn't even take care of his fucking kids. He needs to at least learn how to take care of himself. So, yeah, Spirit will communicate to you through physical symptoms sometimes when somebody or a situation is just not right. So you have to learn how to listen. You have to learn how to trust your body. Another way to tell a witch or a destiny swapper or something like that is you would notice how this person's character starts to align with yours. Like, and I think I told this story before. I literally caught this girl when I was in the military. I was known for being funny. I could imitate any fucking body. I'm a Gemini. I could look at somebody, get their mannerisms down pat, and I could literally do excellent impersonations. So people would flock to me. You know, I was the life of the party. Young Gemini, extrovert. And I noticed this one girl, she would just sit back and look at me in awe, right? And then she would go out and use the same fucking shit that I thought about off the cuff. She would present herself in settings that we were both in, and she would say exactly what I said, verbatim, word for word. She would try to attempt to say it like I said, but can't nobody do it like fucking me. And I'm just looking like, and I was so appalled and shocked. I had to confront her as in front of everybody. I'm like, I literally just said the same exact shit in almost that same exact fashion, and you were there. And now you're here presenting the information like it's new and it's from you. Like, I think that's crazy. She didn't have anything to say. and nobody around there could say anything because some of them were there and they witnessed it. Like, y'all not seeing this shit is creepy and weird? That's weird. This bitch trying to wear my personality and my essence like a fucking jacket. Give me my shit. Thank you. Carry on. So I noticed that. Yeah, they'll try to wear your energy like it's an essence. They'll start borrowing your words. They'll start saying things how you say it. So yeah, this video is 35 minutes long. I gotta go to the gym. If I'm one of those type of people, I gotta go in early in the morning because I don't like for other people to be around me on the treadmill, sweating and huffing and puffing and breathing. I like the gym. I like the intimacy when I'm working out. Because I told y'all, I'm not just working out. I'm actually praising God. I'm praising my ancestors by working out, through working out. I'm manifesting by working out, through working out. Before I go, I just want to say this. The best way to manifest I'm talking about the best way. The very best way to bring in what you want is to give up something. I always think about Glorilla when she talked about how she just made a commitment. I'm going to give up smoking for 30 days. I'm going to give up sex for 30 days. I'm going to give up blah, blah, blah. And that's the best way to manifest. So I'm giving up my free time. I'm giving up sleep. I'm giving up X, Y, and Z. I'm giving up sweat, literally, for God, for my angels, for my ancestors. I'm taking care of my body for them, for me too, but also for them, to let them know I'm grateful. I'm appreciative for who I am. I'm appreciative for every curve I have. I'm appreciative for the ancestors that came before me and lived in harsher conditions and survived so that I could be here today. And I'm going to do the best that I can with that life. It's like when my brother was deep into his addiction. I keep lighting the sage, y'all, and it's not staying. So that is a sign. There's no such thing as coincidences or random happenings. That's not the way the universe works. That's not the way that God works. God is a master builder, the ultimate builder. God is the ultimate architect. Everything that happens by design. Anyway, yeah. Make sure you remember, if not daily, at least weekly, to cleanse your energy, to call your energy, your gifts, and your power back to you, because people work hard. And I'll say this again, people are like, why are there people around that just like to do, negativity and just, the same way there are light workers in this world who are here for a divine purpose is the same way there are dark workers in this world who are here for a demonic or devilish purpose. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, and I'm out, man. I don't even think I'm going to edit this one. And if you can think of any tips of how you may have or how you recommend people spot this negative dark worker in their family, feel free to leave it in the comments below if you have anything to add to this. Because there are a couple things that I missed, but I just don't have time to go into all of them right now. I might make a part 2. Or I might continue this on in another video where I'm talking about how to identify that dark energy, dark witch, dark manifest, or whatever, in your friend group and in your, environment around you. So, yeah, we'll see. I love y'all. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Make sure you work out. You don't have to go to the gym. Go for a walk. Instead of going to the local grocery store, gas prices are high, take a walk. All right? I love you. Bye.